My name is Christine Huang, and I can now officially call myself a teacher. I've always wanted to be a teacher ever since I can remember, but I also wanted to be a chef, a veterinarian, a pediatrician, and a lawyer. But no, seriously, my dream of becoming a teacher was not just a phase like the other occupations turned out to be. Even as a kid, I found myself working with smaller children and taking on the role of the teacher. I volunteered at schools and programs involving education and children, and I really enjoyed myself. When I got accepted to UCSD, I knew right away I would minor in Education Studies. Naturally, I applied to the UCSD Masters in Education Studies and Multiple Subject Credential Program in order to start my journey. During my second student teaching placement, I implemented a unit on plants. The students planted corn, lima beans, radishes, and carrots in their individual cups and watched them grow. Looking back on this unit, I feel like my journey of becoming a teacher was very similar to that of the plants growing in the back of the room. August 2009. I was excited and ready to begin my classes. There was no doubt in my mind about what I was going to do and how I was going to get there. I wasn't too worried as I felt my education courses during undergrad and previous experience with children were sufficient. Summer classes were not so bad, and there was even time to enjoy the nice weather and San Diego beaches. I didn't quite yet understand the multiple warnings from professors and previous students from this program about how rigorous this next year would be. Only if I knew what awaited me. Assignments, papers, packed, a research project, student teaching, and classes. Before I knew it, summer classes came to an end and it was time to start my fall coursework and most importantly get my very first student teaching placement. After much anticipation, I found out I would be placed in National City in a 4th grade class. Anxiety, uncertainty, and nervousness were just some of the feelings that ran through my body. As soon as I started my first placement, I quickly came to the realization I was not as ready as I thought I had been. There were so many different components that made up a classroom and I knew none of them. Seating arrangements, lesson planning, daily activities, routines, a management system, roles, and the list goes on. I soon started to realize that I was merely a seed in fertile soil ready to be planted. My previous experience working with kids and completing my minor coursework was only the first step of my journey. I began my placement by observing my cooperating teacher part-time and attending school full-time. My fall coursework, which included my methods class, teaching language learners class, and equity class, along with observing my cooperating teacher, rooted my foundations in teaching. I learned about innovative methods, engaging strategies, sentence frames, and assessment tools. Now, all I needed was to take everything I learned and use that in my own teaching. Sounds easy, right? Slowly, I started to transition, taking over routines, small group work, and eventually teaching whole class lessons, but it was definitely not as easy as I thought it would be. Trial and error were common as I attempted to improve my practice through the support of my cooperating teacher and supervisor. How could I make the content accessible and engaging in the time frame I was given to each and every student? As I entered full-time student teaching, I started to grow as a teacher. My stems started getting longer and leaves started appearing. I was learning on a minute-to-minute basis through my students and constant reflection. Time management, class management, and content were only some of the difficulties I faced. Soon my time at this placement was already over. I couldn't believe it. I had learned so much and made so much growth, but I was wise this time. I knew I had much more growing to do. I sadly said goodbye to the students that I had grown so attached to and my cooperating teacher who could not have been more supportive and helpful. I was excited to hear about my second placement because I felt like I was much more knowledgeable this time and I wouldn't have to start from scratch. Much to my surprise, I found that I would be placed in a kindergarten class. 5-year-olds? Uh-oh. It took me a while to get used to the shorter attention spans, repeating instructions 5 times, and most importantly, realizing that they were only 5-year-olds. Once again, I fell in love with my class, although it was a completely different learning experience. From this placement, my stems got thicker and longer. I grew even more leaves as I strengthened my teaching practice through teamwork and even more reflection. I am now at the end of my program. I feel as if I've grown so much as a person and a teacher. I am confident with my abilities and my knowledge I've gained through all the classes and field experience. But I know that the end of my program signals another beginning. As a teacher, I truly do believe we are lifelong learners. I still have much more growing to do, and in order to do so, I know I need constant care of my practice, just as a plant needs water, air, and sunlight. This represents the never-ending cycle of being a proactive learner by reflecting, working with others, and practicing innovative techniques. After all, as some of our wise professors once said, once a teacher has no more room for improvement, it is time for him or her to retire.
I needed to